But can't you see, this is simply not enough. It will not work. Consumption would need to be zero to achieve full carbon neutrality.
Well, that is one way to look at it. But I think it is more accurate to say that we need to find immediate ways to at least reduce our consumption while still maintaining our quality of life.
How can we do that?
Well, I think it starts with education. We need to educate people about the importance of reducing their consumption. But we also need to provide incentives for people to do so.
What kind of incentives?
Financial incentives, like tax breaks or subsidies for people who reduce their consumption. We also need to make it easier for people to reduce their consumption, like by providing more public transportation options or increasing the availability of energy-efficient products.
I see, but I still think this is not enough to reduce our consumption. Do you have any other ideas?
Well, one idea is to set limits on consumption. For example, we could limit the amount of energy that people can use each day or the amount of resources that they can consume each year.
That sounds like a good idea, but I think we also need to find ways to increase our efficiency. We need to find ways to do more with less, produce without emitting carbon.
Absolutely. We need to find ways to use less energy, to waste less food, and to produce less pollution. But I think we also need to change our attitudes. We need to consume less because we want to, not because we have to.
I partly agree. Some of us can do that. But what about countries that just do not care, and how can you reduce consumption to zero? Who would accept that? I think we need innovations that make carbon-neutral technologies cheaper than contemporary technologies, that would solve the problem if it would not pay to use fossil energy.
I think that's a great idea, but we need to make sure that those technologies are accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy. We also need to make sure that they're safe and reliable.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that they're affordable and that they don't cause any harm to the environment.
I think those are all great ideas, but we need to remember that we can't just rely on technology to solve this problem. We also need to change our behavior. We need to force whole industries to transform and reinvent themselves.
I agree. We need to change our behavior and our attitudes. We need to consume less and be more efficient. But I think we also need to find ways to make carbon-neutral technologies more affordable and accessible to everyone. And that means an encompassing industrial revolution. Nothing less saves us from turmoil. But I am happy to realize this seems to be possible.
It will not be easy, but I am optimistic too. If we force ourselves into this transformation, others will follow us in the end. Nothing will be as cheap or convenient as sustainability.